First, I'd like to introduce the speaker of this session, Professor Naoko Tosa. Professor Naoko Tosa received a PhD of Engineering for Art and Technology Research from University of Tokyo. In particular, she focused on the topic of communication with used computers, video, and used computers, video, and electronics to design artwork that relates to the intelligence of emotion, consciousness, and unconsciousness. She was a guest professor in the Graduate School of Science and Technology at Kobe University, and also she was a researcher at the ATR, Media Intelligence and Communication Lab. She was also a fellow at the Massachusetts MIT Technology Center for Advanced Visual Study. She is currently a professor at Kyoto University. Today she is talking about computing of Japanese culture.
Thank you very much for introduction. So today I'm talking about what is the right point of artistic art and technology point of view. So I am a media artist and researcher, especially research of art and technology. It means so how to use artistic theory and concept and going to the technology, and also how computing some technology involved to the art. Okay, so today before I'm talking about cultural computing, I'm talking about more my history of the research, and because before my person talking about some neuroscience or something more, here's audience is more physics people. So this is my old work. It was first work is Neurobaby made generated in almost 14 years ago. It was 1993. I made a neural network using a Neurobaby by neural network. So response in reacting to the emotional, reacting by depend on the people's emotional voice. I show you the video. This is a computer-generated baby graphics. This is a real-time graphics. Here is a microphone and people talking to the baby through the microphone.
Creation of nonverbal actors. We have worked to create various kinds of interactive characters that can communicate with humans. There are mainly two communication channels used by humans: verbal communication and nonverbal communication. So far, most researchers have been developing verbal communication technologies. Speech recognition or character recognition are typical research areas. What we have found through our experiments is that the nonverbal communication channel is the key when we want to realize a truly human-like communication between computer characters and humans. We have created a baby-like character called Neurobaby, which can recognize the emotions involved in the human voice and react to them. People, regardless of age, gender, and even language, can become totally involved in the interaction with this character. We recognize that this is the key to the success of future movies. Based on this emotion-allied communicative character, we launched efforts to create other nonverbal communication characters to be key actors in future movies.
This guy, put on the low voice.
Body communication actor, Mick.
And then it was
Try to remember when you
1995.
were a kid. You lived in a world full of
Computer is
excitement
growing
and
up.
enjoyment.
Also babies
Even if
growing
your
up.
capability of controlling language was limited, you could communicate with other kids or even animals and flowers by exchanging emotional utterances and body
And here is
motions.
an emotional model.
These capabilities are the keys that will lead you to
In
the wonderland
1993,
of future
just 4
movies.
model. But here
For
is
this
in
purpose,
9
we have created a new character,
emotional
which we call
model.
Mick. Mick is a male child character. He has a cuteness that makes people feel they want to speak to him by emotional expressions and to interact with him with full body motions. He is playful and a bit cheeky, but doesn't have a spiteful nature. You can speak to Mick by emotional voices or utterances, and Mick will react to them. For example, if one whistles, Mick's feelings is positive, and his response is enthusiastic. If the speaker's voice is low and strong, Mick's feeling is negative, and he gets angry.
He's a researcher of the artificial life, and they are speaking by English, but maybe understanding his emotional voice intonation at that time, and then response to the people.
Expressing what I feel. You're excited. Calm down, calm down. You'll lose your head. Hey, calm down. You don't have to.
No! I'd love to hear you sing.
I don't have a good singing voice, though, but I'd like to hear you sing. Would you sing for me? Would you sing for me?
And here is a
You can also
multimodal
interact with
reaction
Mick by using body motions.
and input and
When
reaction.
you express your feelings by such
This
body
is a
actions
baby's
as
eye
fully extending your arms,
and people
Mick will do the
making
same
a
body action
behavior,
to share the same emotion
and
with you.
baby also
When you
try to
approach
the same
Mick,
behavior.
sometimes he tries to flee from you, as if he does not want to be touched by you. He sometimes touches you, showing he wants to have physical contact with you.
But people try to make a behavior at that time, also talking to baby, and then baby responds to the emotional react by behavior and emotional some expression too.
Moreover, you can become a butterfly or a bee on the screen and enjoy interactions with Mick. Suppose you were a wasp and had a desire to sting Mick. Mick would try to escape from your pursuit and express his painful feeling by projecting sensitive facial expressions.
And this version is a more intelligence. Baby understanding meaning of the language and also with emotional recognition.
What's the matter? What's the matter?
I'm feeling down today.
Why? Come on, take it easy. Take it easy, darling. Calm down. Calm down.
I'm so pissed off.
Calm down.
So, this is
Creating internet mail, an intermediary for emotional miscommunication in email. When exchanging email, since we often use few words, it often happens that exact sentiments are lost in the translation, leading to misunderstandings. It's characteristic of email communication that one message can be sent and misunderstood, resulting in awkwardness that may be difficult to recover from. This software has been designed to convey sentences more reliably. Mail in Japanese. Here, the user logs in via World Wide Web. Once you type in your message and click the convert icon, the converter automatically compares the message with a database of emotionally loaded phrases. At the same time, actions to fit 9 emotions: excitement, greeting, teasing, surprise, fear, anger, disgust, sadness, and neutral are loaded in from a behavioral database. When the conversion is finished, NeuroBaby performs an emotional translation by speaking the loaded phrase, which is marked in yellow, in a synthesized baby voice and performing an appropriate behavior to convey the emotion. If the user doesn't like the automatic results, they can create their own behaviors to use at the selected phrases, and even add behavior to phrases that weren't selected by the computer's emotion recognition tool. They can customize NeuroBaby's facial expression and behavior, the background image and music, and sound effects. The user's changes are recorded in their own database. After viewing a replay, the user can confirm their selection.
This voice, Japanese voice, is voice synthesis, like babies. This is 80 hours technologies. Collaborate.
ところで家で掃除をしていたら、あなたの借りていた帽子が出てきました。今度帰るから。
Because sometimes we mistake understanding emotional aspect of the sentence of the
Its arrival can be confirmed with typical email software. With NeuroBaby Webmail, however, the recipient can also check the nuance and sentiments of the sender's chosen words. Mail in English. The software can also process email written in English. The words highlighted in red are the ones the computer has automatically emotionally translated. Here, the word birthday has just been newly recorded as an emotion word. On this screen, the user chooses from 9 emotions and modifies the character with facial expressions, behaviors, background images, and sound effects. NeuroBaby speaks through an English voice synthesizer and expresses the emotions.
Hello, how have you been?
So, at that time, we prepare to the English version and Japanese version of the webmail. In the future, maybe it's that kind of research, maybe more emotional translate.
By the way, when I clean my house,
in language on the website.
I found your handkerchief with me. Next time, I will return to you. I'm really sorry too.
So, and emotion, each emotion is, typical emotion also very, depend on the culture, very different. Typical emotion is, same, but, very sensitive emotion is sometimes too different. And next research is, I'm trying to, how adapting to the, more Japanese culture to emotion, especially love. So, I was made a interactive manzai. This is a kind of comedy
Concept of interactive manzai.
for two
In
people.
daily conversations, such factors as the voice tone, timing, and speed play very important roles. By controlling them, we enjoy conversations and keep human relations.
This is typical, Japanese comedy for one person, and this is a two-person version.
A kind of comical dialogues. We enjoy manzai by listening to the dialogues of two manzai comedians. The two comedians play the role of boke and tsukomi. Boke plays the role of an ordinary person with everyday opinions. Sometimes these opinions are surface and boring and far from reality. Tsukomi plays a role of a
This is offense
who
person.
is keen to detect its opinions and becomes offensive to both.
He is, defense person.
In manzai,
He is
such factors as voice
offense
tone,
person.
timing, and speech are the keys as well as the conversation content. When these factors are well controlled, the audience is fascinated and involved into the conversation. They want to become manzai comedians by themselves. Interactive manzai is the system that
He
realizes
is, professional
you play
Japanese
a role of
comedian.
boke and to the role of tsukomi.
Play the
When you
computer
speak, the
comedian
computer analyzes the content,
on TV,
emotion,
Japanese TV.
speed, and the timing of the utterance.
Their professional manzai comedian name is Bakusho Mondai.
By interacting with the system, you will recognize the joyfulness of conversation itself.
人間の感情をコンピューターに読み流せようという研
This
究
is Japanese news.
漫才
I collaborate Yoshimoto Kogyo is Yoshimoto Kogyo. This is comedian company. Very very long history in Japan. 今年の夏は暑いね。
ほんま暑いね。
そうね。
いらっしゃいませ。
8月でこの暑さやから12月には想像できんほど暑いんでしょうね。
いやね、んなわけないやろ。
独特の間がちょっぴりたどたどしいんですけど、名付けてインタラクティブ漫才。パソコンの中で動いている仮面の CG に話しかけると、この2つのマイクで言葉の意味と感情とを認識します。例えば低くて強い声なら怒っていると判断し、それに合ったツッコミを返すというわけです。開発したのは ATR の土佐直子研究員。もともとの専門は感情認識システム。声の抑揚から人間の感情を認識するという研究なんですが、副産物としてこの CG 漫才が生まれたそうです。それにしても一体どうしてツッコミパソコンを作ろうと思ったんですか？いやどうもね、今日はちょっと漫才のコンビをコンビ組ませてもらって嬉しいんですけどって言おうと思ってるけど、どうですか感想は？
君とはやっとかれるよ。
嘘まだ10秒しか喋ってへんの。いやどうもね、今日は皆様集まって早いのツッコミがいや今日はね2人で漫才をしようということで、私ははるばる朝日放送というところからやってきたんですけど、さてさて、せっかく作ったこのシステムをビジネスに結びつけることはできないか、共同開発した吉本興業の意見を聞きに行きました。応対したのは吉本の竹中プロデューサ
ー。いわゆる一般のユーザーの方が例えば有料になっていった中でね、楽しめるほどの商品なのかどうかいうのはいろんな人もうちょっと思い出せなあかんねんなと思っててね。
一番大事なノリじゃないですか、だからそういうノリだけを抽出してるようなもんだから、
吉本としてはこの CG 漫才の将来性についてどう考えているんでしょうか。
いよいよコンピューターに突っ込まれる時代がやってきた。未来的ですよね、きっとああいう形でお客さん自身が漫才に入っていける。ただまあすぐにはまだ花月には乗らないけども、ひょっとしたら将来ね、それが新しい商品になってまた花月だとかテレビの朝日放送のお笑い番組になるかもしれない。
喋ってる途中で突っ込んできたりとまだまだ改良の余地ありですが、ひょっとしたらギャラいらずの漫才師が舞台に上る日が来るのかも
this system is also same as neurobabies technologies, especially emotional recognition with voice recognition.
Speech is analyzed. Also, speed and the timing of input speech is analyzed. By combining these two results, the level of the user involvement, in other words, how deeply a user is involved into the conversation, is decided. In the character synthesis,
and then generation of the facial expression by computer graphics, and also output sound.
And the facial animation of Manzai character is generated. Thus, a user enjoy a Manzai conversation with the system.
So, it was 2001, and then I studied more deeply recognizing to the Japanese culture, and then I'm choosing next theme is Buddhism Zen. So then we make a genetic computer. Genetic computer means Buddhism Zen, genetics by computer. So and also cultural computing theme is how to adapting to the analyze to the rule and some architecture.
Intercultural computing. It means translation and visualization of essential aspects of culture between different people using cutting-edge interaction technologies. By developing a new method of intercultural computing, utilizing advanced interaction technologies, we can offer a totally new and personal experience through which people could feel and understand other cultures that could otherwise only be understood in a logical way. Based on this intercultural computing, everybody filling the gap among generations, genders and countries can have a cross-cultural understanding through enjoying the interaction like a new entertainment. We tried to realize intercultural computing, taking Zen and Japanese culture as examples. Various kinds of interactive construction with rich allegory and symbolism have been the core of the Zen culture. Representative examples are ink painting, Zen dialogue, rock gardens, tea ceremony, and the kimono.
This work collaborates Professor Seigo Matsuoka. He is a philosopher and critic of the Japanese culture.
We tried to develop an interactive system that could help us recreate ourselves with Buddhist principles, Asian philosophy, and traditional Japanese culture through inspiration.
This is an exhibition at the MIT Museum.
Recreating ourselves means our daily self meeting our hidden self through wondering about something, or in other words, our consciousness and unconsciousness melding in complete harmony. It is difficult to achieve this experience through traditional logic-based interaction.
In system collaborated with
Dr.
Peter Davis.
Types of images, the type of scientific computing.
Chaos, dual chaos engine. Children operating to the generic computer.
Mountain, traveler,
This is a digital sansui painting.
tree,
Here is a heliographics icon, and we are split of the ink painting material on each icon. Mountains, moons, travelers, bridge, like that. And then moving to the canvas, picture is appear.
We created a virtual world through images of the Asian sansui ink painting world, which are difficult to experience in daily life.
Mountain.
This makes it possible to awaken our daily consciousness.
Mountain.
We have developed a 3D interactive ink painting engine by utilizing its original perspective called Sanen, where one picture has 3 viewpoints.
Sanen is in a very panoramic perspective, not like European perspective, looking down, front of view, parallel view, and looking up to far view.
Mountain.
Engine classifies their invisible personality by using a neural network and utilizing the Buddhist concept of Go-un, which says that 5 basic spirits and materials make up our world.
1. Shiki. Superficial appearance of the so-called reality. 2. Ju. Intuitive impressions. 3. Soul. Perceived images. 4. Gyo. Activation of behavior. 5. Shiki. The deep mind behind all of the above.
Here is the surface, and then going to the...
Then the users can enter their own 3D ink painting picture.
After the painting,
depending on their personality,
people can
various stories are
enter
generated.
their own picture world.
The environmental information of a story, such as scenery or weather, is used for Godai, which encompasses all elements of structure: water, fire, wind, sky, and earth. In the virtual world, users enter a story that shakes their consciousness.
This is a navigator tool for the 3D ink painting world.
宿の春、何もなきこそ何もある。
And then framing to the some object.
宿の春、何も
Then
なき
related haiku generated. Haiku or
This is not
Zen
complete
dialogue
stories
generated.
such as those in movies or novels, but fragments of short stories. Experiencing these stories makes users uneasy and evokes their unconscious desire to emerge a whole story by linking these fragments of stories.
円山は雪降る雲の絶え間から。
In each of these incoherent stories, the interactions evoke Zen dialogues or haiku by allegorical communication. The users are asked questions that do not have correct answers. They are forced to deal with these ambiguous provocations, and thus they unconsciously try to answer the questions.
There is a small river running here. A person is here too. It's you. Have you ever seen this kind of fish before? Ha! It's a catfish. Well, try to catch it. It's slippery, not easy to catch.
Here is a rock garden interface. Catfish going to the here.
Furthermore, the ink painting engine made by computer graphics can be virtually integrated with a rock garden interface. Ma interaction.
Rules.
This is,
the user state
Dr.
moves
Peter
from the current state
Davis,
toward the next
chaos
target
age.
state. During the motion, the user agent,
This is a
Chaos 2,
simulation.
interacts with the Zen master, Chaos 1. If the user agent can synchronize with Zen master, the user state can reach the next target. If the user agent cannot synchronize with the Zen master, the user state goes into a compromise state. When the user has too much success in reaching the next target, the Zen master, Chaos 1, will become stronger and synchronization becomes more difficult.
We're using this system engine to react to the computer graphics to user, like catfish behavior or Zen dialogues behavior, answer like
This
that.
is a symbol and allegorical interaction model based on Buddhism. Context generation changes depending on the user's goal and information from the Zen Buddhism interaction. The Ma interaction wakes users from a hodgepodge of individual fragmentary stories and compels them to make a unified story of their own imagination.
Slippery catfish and the gourd. Is it a catfish or a gourd? What is the catfish? Is the catfish moving? Slippery catfish. Things that catch and things that get caught. I want you to become free from both. The slippery catfish. I wonder if you understand. Things that catch and things that get caught. Yes, I want you to become free from both. Do you know who I am? I am you. I am your inner spirit. Please. That's it. Draw the way you are feeling now.
Depend on how to people making today painting, drawing,
Is that
canvas.
You're trying to be fancy.
Yeah, painting.
Drop your hand.
The trees are scattered around. Now, look carefully at the fallen leaves. Now, sweep up the fallen leaves. This is something the Zen priests do every day. Now, in which of your hands does the sound remain? See? The kimono is hanging up here. The kimono shows our mind.
Aki kaze ni kaki nasu koto no koe ni sae hakanaku hito no koishi karuran.
This interaction
is an important notice.
Is Japanese, aesthetics, awase, kisoi, soroe, depend on the design change.
夏秋風吹くからに声打ちそる
This is the, 100 years ago's using dying designs.
It seems the wind is blowing on the kimono. That must be a nice feeling.
Calm. What were you doing? Were you dreaming? Every existing thing is nothing. At the same time, nothing is existing. Nothing is emerging, and nothing is dying. Nothing is innocent, and nothing is sinful. Nothing increases, and nothing decreases. What were you doing? Were you dreaming? Did the bull dream a butterfly? Or did the butterfly have a dream of a bull? Everything looks like melting together.
And the music by Toshinori Kondo. He's a famous international jazz trumpeter. So this is a kind of interactive cinema for 30 minutes. And also Buddhism Zen is very spirituality and awareness and also inspiration. So maybe I should show you the iProt. This is a more meta level inspirations, research work. I mean inspiration plot, information plot.
Our theme is the future
inspire plot.
In examining how a computer can inspire with humor and wisdom, we studied the hidden relationships and contextual emergence of language. Narrative is at its most vivid when emergent technologies are born, when an advancing idea breaks through a critical barrier, creating a heretofore unimagined paradigm through the marriage of completely different ideas.
Inspiration.
The system discovers hidden connections between unrelated words by tracing possible paths through the database. The path between words is like that of a wandering mind, where the jump between each idea is clear, but multiple jumps lead to unexpected results. The user may highlight interesting sets of words and delve deeper into the word associations. Database. With traditional context generation, words close contextually to a word are chosen by searching through a regular thesaurus. However, with this technique, it is difficult to produce interesting results. We have realized a method of emergent context generation we call inspiration generation. This method uses a combination of the WordNet lexical database, the Edinburgh Psychological Associative Thesaurus, and Matsuoka's original thought forms to produce a dynamic working base with a vocabulary of over 20,000 words. Thought forms
This is original
editing of ideas.
Research.
Concatenation. Ideas arranged in an order. For example, egg, chick, and hen. Balance. Balanced 3 sets of words. For example, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Division. splitting an idea into two child ideas. For example, computer into hardware and software, unification, a new idea from a combination of two ideas. For example, radio and tape recorder becomes cassette radio. Crisscross, four ideas in opposition or complement derived from a central idea. For example, old, young, male, and female. Chaos search.
This is also Dr. Peter Davis' dual chaos engine using to the chaos connection of the A word between E word.
Increases. The engine, which runs continuously in the background, contains an objective chaos, the user chaos following the objective, and a system value controlling the synchronization of user and objective. By increasing the system value, the engine produces more chaotic output.
Inspiration, computing, robot.
Robot agent introduction I brought to.
And system presents their hidden relationship as an inspiration space. The relationships displayed are discovered by finding associative connections between individual words, such as war and love, and occasional detours provided by the chaos engine. The path produced is much like that which a wandering mind might follow while daydreaming, where the connection between each idea is clear, but multiple connections can lead to very interesting and unexpected results.
War, conflict, clash.
Arms, embrace, affection, love.
Inspiration Restaurant Guide. This is a connection between Inspiration Space and the Restaurant Guide in the Paris Yellow Pages. When you are looking for a gourmet adventure with a friend, just search for each person's preferred atmosphere, such as poor and rich, and a location, such as Louvre. The system generates a list of inspiration words that represent the intersection of the input atmosphere words and the location. So, for example, when you click on the word happiness, the pizzeria Chez Mario appears.
Happiness, suggestion, pizzeria Chez Mario.
Symbol inspiration. If you input two words, symbols calculated by inspiration computing of the input words, such as fight and weak, are generated as thought forms. This way, it is possible to view inspirational links between images. Context inspiration. The user enters a few words he or she likes into the blanks for the 5 W's plus H, such as president and English, and clicks inspiration. A context is generated via the inspiration computing of the user's input, and these context words are arranged in the form of a sentence. You can also ask a question by marking any blank as unknown.
President disliked English human.
Inspiration vlog. Upon inputting a sentence, such as, inspiration computers are fancy, words possibly hidden within that sentence are calculated via inspiration computing.
Inspiration computers are fancy.
This may lead to a broadened imagination and fewer misunderstandings in conversations, such as in this case where the reply is flattery will get you nowhere.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
The computer tries to read between the lines and suggest implications of the original content.
See you later. Thanks for watching.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I should stop. Thank you very much for
I'd like to invite comment and question on the floor.
I think it's wonderful experimental work here, but in terms of its actual use in the real world, in terms of broadening people's perspective, we know that when people play, for example, violent war games,
yes.
which involving killing and rape and arson and so on, that they don't relate what's happening on the screen to anything in real life. And in a sense, they can play this game only because it's not real. Is there a risk that if you engage them with philosophical exercises through the computer, it's going to mean that their philosophy is developing unrelated to the real world? Again, it's going to become a kind of virtual space in which they do philosophy, just as they can play war games in a virtual space. But it'll have no real development, and it won't help them develop as individuals or as thinkers in the world of people and of real ideas.
So, this is a, I think, this question is dependent on the people, the answer is different. But from my point of view, some point of view, war game is also, it is, very useful for, educational point of view. Never try to the same kind of things happen. But at that time, maybe war game not do that because, for young, especially, young children, and maybe before 50 years old people, not so experienced to the real war, and it is very harder to understanding to the what happened when starting to the war. So, and maybe virtual world is maybe educational point of view, so or good imaginations. Maybe should be growing up to the good imagination too. This is a kind of my opinion. So is that okay for your questions?
Well, my question really is whether you think the kind of imaginative games people play transfer to the real world, or whether by developing this kind of way of thinking within the virtual world, maybe it's actually not helping them. It may even be stopping them from using these kinds of ways of thinking externally. I mean, this could be kind of philosophical pornography, if you can see what I mean. It's detached from the space in which we really live out our real lives. I mean, this is, of course, a very general question about the use of virtual worlds and information technology for developing our imagination, whether what the connection is and how, whether it really helps, hinders us to become fuller and more wiser people interacting outside of the technology.
It means, my point of view, how computer is like a personal mirror. Personal mirror. It means that if I'm very interested about human-computer interaction. It means human-computer interaction is in fact human-to-human interaction, communication of the simulation. And if people try to interact with the computer, this is like a feedback, wake up for myself, and also understanding myself. And so in the virtual world, not only interaction with computer. Then computer connect to the people's these people and the other people too. And also this is a very interesting about for communication point of view, considering understanding more unconsciously and helping to the communication to unconsciousness too. and inspire of the of the human's brain and emotions and mind too. It's okay.
Thank you. Is it possible to distinguish between consciousness process and unconsciousness process based on computational approach? I would like to know, is it possible to incorporate consciousness process as well as consciousness?
I think so. That's why I do this kind of work. So, because sometimes, I have more another work, unconscious flow. This system is how, two people communicate with, unknown people communicate with each other. But sometimes, social point of view, we are prey to communication to other people. But this work unconsciously, this work analyze people's behavior, psychological point of view, humans, what do you say, how close each other or how far each other, and at the time, same time, we analyzing to the humans, people's heart rate sensor too, psychological physical way. So, and then computers, characters make a behavior to how to communication to people, each other. And at that time, if computer character describe not true things, even so, two people's behavior is, consciously changed. It means more affectable, useful for computer, humans consciously affection and communication too.
Generally, I always experienced the cultural difference. So, is it possible to incorporate such cultural difference about computing human relationships?
Yeah, it is also useful. Because I explained genetic computer showing us United States, especially Boston. Boston is very many Japanese art showing in there, especially Boston Museum, Gardner Museum, but Bostonian not understanding Japanese culture, especially Zen Buddhism, is almost same as meditation means like a relapse, completely same meanings. But when I show at the genetic computer, and then they are Bostonian people, something talk to me, understanding to more meaning of the Zen Buddhism for Zen dialogue or haiku poem, and also in painting, also like a more experience is completely different. Just reading a book or watching through some picture in the museum, and this is maybe useful for understanding a different culture. And then next step is maybe a cultural translation. Maybe we need it. But of course I did not know about how to do that. But in the future, some people research about next step is cultural translation using emotional and unconsciousness information with consciousness information too.
Any other question?
So, thank you for great talk. I have one question. So, emotion is, I think, it's a kind of an analog data. Whereas computers need a digital data or input, such as grade, graph, or it's different. If I get a great money, the lottery or any other casino, and I'm very glad. If I got a great success in my job, I'm very glad. Because glad is a very different meaning in between two. So how do you input the computer as a digital data? It's a difference of emotion of glad.
Interesting. I think, future goal. I don't know what I should do or not, how to do that, but in the future goal is computer expand to good emotion. Good, expand to the good things. And then also, please, less of the, bad emotion too. And care of the, I think this is a final goal of the, emotional recognition technologies by computer. MP. Is that okay for your answer? And but sensitive point of view, in fact, I know basic emotion is in the world almost same, but very sensitive emotion, especially love, is different. Because I am Japanese, but when I was United Kingdom in London, I went to theater for comedy theater, but I cannot say laughing, because laugh is very domestic. And another reason is I showed to the interactive comedy in Japan, especially in the Kansai area. It was very successful, but at the same time, later this system showed to the Boston area. But and I am trying the testing to the MIT people, but no laughing. And then what I should do, and I am what research about Bostonian comedy theater, and then at that time I found quite similar interactive comedians theater. It's called improv theater. In fact, European comedy is only one people making a laugh, not two people. Two people is laugh, making a laugh way is only Asia area. So, and then Bostonian comedian and translate to the making a laugh on the Bostonian way. He using to the same scenario, but after that, Bostonian people is laughing. It is cultural or some laugh, emotional translation too. That's it.
Okay, I think we don't have time left, so I'd like to close this session. I'd like to thank again to Professor Tosa for a very interesting presentation.